presented by Auto Trader. It's been easy for the Spurs getting to the playoffs the last few years. 24 seasons for Greg Popovich. And while he's been there, boy, have they been consistent. 22 of those 24 seasons, they've gone to the playoffs. Here are the wins. Third most all-time in the regular season and the playoffs. You see the faces there on the right. Consistency, season after season. Well, right now, they're 5 games back of the Grizzlies for 8th, and all of this can come to an end. 22 consecutive winning seasons, 22 consecutive playoff appearances. They face the Mavericks tonight. They're 10 games under 500. Can they turn it around and keep those Popovich streaks going? Judging by Shaq's face, I'm not sure. We're joined by 2 people that have a better idea than us. Brian Anderson, Jim Jackson going to be calling the game. They'll be joined by Chris Haynes. Fellas, does it feel like it's all coming to an end?
I think it does feel like that, and of course this is the city that Shaq built, San Antonio, Texas, and saw a lot of winning here, Jimmy. The San Antonio Spurs are just a much different team. They haven't experienced this kind of losing, potentially missing out on the playoffs since Greg Popovich's first year as head coach. And remember, David Robinson was hurt that year. It was the next year, 1997, that they drafted Tim Duncan. That was the gift that keeps on giving, or was giving for many years. But it looks like the Spurs' reign could be coming to an end, minus a dramatic finish.
Yeah, but unfortunately, all good things do come to an end, but it's a matter of how long that end takes, because you can have a down year, figure things out. Look, had a lot of turnover in regards to roster because of injuries. So you never were able to develop continuity here in San Antonio. Infuse that with some young players who are trying to figure out what the NBA is really all about. Also, how to fit into with Greg Popovich. But I think the key with the San Antonio team is, okay, you have one down year. You don't let that fester into multiple years.
Right.
You figure out ways to continue to build, grow your young talent. You have some veterans. You bounce back next year. And this one is almost like, well, it happened. We went through it, and we moved on.
20 games left for the Spurs. They do get some good news tonight. LaMarcus Aldridge will return for the Spurs. Jimmy, he's missed 6 games. He's under contract for next year. If you're going to build and rebuild, this is one piece to start with to try to get back into the postseason potentially next year.
Well, I'll tell you who's happy besides the team, you know, the coaching, that LaMarcus Aldridge is back. That's Rudy Gay. He doesn't have to play the 5 anymore.
Right.
So he gets beat up. But to have LaMarcus back, again, the injuries stymie what you want to do as far as growth. Now, are you completely out of the playoff race? Not really. But by having Aldridge back in the lineup, that gives you a better opportunity, one, offensively, put the ball in the basket. But second, where the team has struggled a lot is on the defensive end. At least it gives you that rim protector that you sorely need.
One thing about the Spurs, they've never been swept in a season series by the Mavericks. Dallas has a chance to do that tonight. They have dominated the Spurs this year. Dallas is keeping a close eye on the standings right now. They're in the 7th position. They're trying to move up. And Jimmy, to me, you'd see the 3 games that separates the Jazz in the 4th position, which is home court advantage in the first round, and then the Dallas Mavericks. Those 3 games, that's doable even with 17 left when you consider the Mavericks push this year for a postseason.
Yeah, well, teams will tell you they don't care who they want to play in the playoffs, but matchups are the key. You can look at that right now. It's Dallas versus the Clippers. Right now they're 0-2 versus the Clippers in the regular season, and those 2 losses were there in Dallas. Now they still have 2 more to go, but that's not a matchup, if I'm on the outside looking in, that you want to see. So if you can advance and move up a little bit more in those standings and have a favorable matchup in that first round that gives you a better opportunity, you do that. But at the end of the day, talking to Rick Carlisle, it's all about finishing the season by winning games no matter what.
All right. Luka Doncic will be in the lineup. He's going to start here tonight. He's been dealing with a wrist injury. He came out early. Matter of fact, he was on the first bus, which is not something he normally does. You see the right wrist is bandaged. I wouldn't say his warm-ups went great. He didn't look like he was comfortable, but they've just confirmed the starting lineups, and he will be in there. And that combination of Doncic and Porzingis, they found a new chemistry, a new place, I think, as we get into the second half.
Well, the reason why is because they've been able to be on the court together. At the beginning of the season, the injuries kind of took effect where the 2 players could not coordinate on the court. One was in, one was out. but through this stretch, they've been both together. And Porzingis also trying to figure out a new role for himself, a lot different than what he played while he was at the Knicks. Also coming back from injury is also a challenge, but now he's seemed to kind of figure out his niche and what he can do. In particular, as he plays the 5 position, it allows him, like Rick Carlisle said, to be the trailer, so the ball is initiated through his hands a lot more. And now that coordination between he and Doncic is like kind of something that everybody has been waiting to see.
All right, guys, back to you in the studio. Looking forward to this Texas matchup tonight, the Spurs and the Dallas Mavericks. Last meeting of the year between these two.
Appreciate it, guys. B.A. Jim Jackson. That game is going to tip off at 8. First thing I thought when I saw Luka's wrist was, that's a target, right? Like if he goes through the lane?
It's a new day.
Well,
it's a new
the
day.
old school, yes.
Yeah.
I would have told D-Wade, first play of the game, let him go baseline and touch him up. But
Gotcha. I appreciate your
I don't
honesty.
know what they're going to do, of course.
All right, it's easy. Presented by Auto Trader. Last 10 games, the Mavericks, you see the points. They are the most efficient offense in the NBA by a wide margin. In 3 games against the Spurs this year, Luka's averaging 30, 10, and 11 assists. We'll see if that can continue. That's pretty unbelievable, right?
DWLN,
And that means?
D-Wade like numbers.
Ooh.
I like that.
D-Wade, what do you think of Luka so far? Is he a guaranteed superstar?
Well, I mean, no one's a guaranteed superstar, right? He's very, very good, and he's exciting to watch. I think his age, at 21 years old, just turned 21, it makes all of us kind of look back at his numbers and say, wow. But I think when I think about this game, when I think about Luka and watching him warm up, it's the time of the year when it's, as a player, are you injured or are you hurt? Right? This team right now needs to make that move up to 6, so they're not facing the Clippers in the first round. And this is an important game. Even though San Antonio is not as good this year, this is a tough place to win. And if you can walk away with a good road win, then it matters. So that's why he's suiting up. So is he injured or is he hurt?
And if you look at Luka, of course he's 21, but people, forget that he's been playing pros since 15 years old.
Sure.
And, that there's no knock on the way the Americans play basketball, but over in Europe, they're much more fundamentally sound. So if you're playing at the age of 15 with guys that are older and stronger than you and much more fundamentally sound, when you get over here in a talent-based league, of course you're going to do some work.
Last time Porzingis played the Spurs, he went for 28 and 12, and he does seem like a new type of player. What are you seeing out of that duo between Luka and Kristaps recently?
I was really happy. During the time Luka was injured, I was happy to see Porzingis get his legs back. Yeah. Because all of us know that have been injured, it does take about, in a serious injury, it takes about a year for you to get confident.
Just to get back to where you were.
To get back where you were and to trust it. And there was one transition play where the ball was out and you could see him pull up early in the year, and now he's extending and going in and dunking at the rim in transition, which I think is the biggest fear to get over. But Luka and Porzingis as a duo is going to be scary for years to come. I do think for their first playoff round experience, they need to move up in the standings and not, like D-Wade, face the Clippers. Because you don't want that experience in the first round.
But Jimmy Jackson said, as players, we like to lie and say, it don't matter.
Yeah,
no, it does matter.
Yes.
It matters.
Last 14 games for Porzingis, he's averaging 26 and 11.
Hey there, I'm Stephanie Reddy. Welcome to the warm-up brought to you by Ford. We've got Steve Smith and Brendan Haywood in the building. Thrilled.
Yes, indeed.
If you guys could see everything that happens when we're off camera,
Yes, indeed.
you would be thrilled as well. There's 9 games in the NBA tonight, 2 on TNT. But first, before we start talking about all the games, we want to get to LeBron James. He's listed as probable now for the game tonight, but he had this to say about how the league is responding to the coronavirus when he spoke to the press earlier. Let's listen.
In regards to just, the whole possibility of games being played without fans?
Well, it's funny because when I was asked the question, would you play without no fans, I had no idea that it was actually a conversation going on behind closed doors about the particular virus. Obviously, I would be very disappointed, not having the fans, because that's what I play for. I play for my family, I play for my fans. They're saying no one could actually come to the game if they decide to go to that point, so I'd be disappointed in that. But at the same time, you gotta listen to the people that's keeping a track on what's going on, and if they feel like it's best for the safety of the players, the safety of the franchise, safety of the league, to mandate that, then we all listen to it.
Have you personally changed any of your habits because of all of this stuff?
No.
Does this make you feel safer and what they've done so far?
So much safer. I don't even know who. Listen, I have no idea what happened. I miss you guys being right here, like right here in my bubble.
Okay, so LeBron James walked back his previous statement. His explanation was very solid. He said that he wasn't aware even that the conversations were taking place. Just personally speaking, I've been in those press scrums.